All right, it seems to be working. It looks like we're doing okay.
I forgot to talk over.
Wait, don't talk.
I forgot to talk over the info. I'm so sorry.
I'm sitting there baiting you into trying it so I can yell at you for talking. Hey, welcome to Jeremiah Creek.
We should start over so I could do that.
No, that's right.
Okay.
Welcome to Jeremiah Creek, broadcasting from an unusual place today. That's Bull Garlington, and I am
Dave's safe
Dave
place.
Haynes. I'm Dave Haynes. And please, if you're watching this, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this on Windy City Safes, because this is a dual.
Oh no!
How do you call it? What do you say?
Do a podcast?
Yeah, but it's a
cross promotion.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. My rates are. I'll post
double?
my rates
All
to
right.
you later.
Yeah, so hit the subscribe button on whichever of the platforms you're watching us. We're broadcasting today from Windy City Safes at 7310 on Milwaukee Avenue in Niles. My buddy George had to go out of town, so he asked me to come, and so I took over. Actually, I've been filming some little shorts for him and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Good
so
you being a marketing manager. I like it.
Yeah, so he had to go out of town, so he asked me to cover the shop today, and so I told Bull to come down and we'll do our podcast from here instead of from the cigar store.
I just do love calling it your safe place.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's basically just guns here.
He goes,
oh, look how much better we can hear. All of a sudden.
He calls me up. He goes, "Hey, you at your safe space?" Yeah. All right. Well, then I'll get dressed to come right over. I'm like, "What the? What kind of phone call is that?" All right. So I have topics. Do you have topics?
I have topics.
Do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
All right. Well, my first is the hurricane.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that can segue into one of mine. Okay.
Because there's several different levels. First of all, this hurricane was horrific.
Yeah, bad.
And it was horrific for me personally because it ended up hitting my area where I live in Tennessee. And it was
in mountainous Tennessee.
Mountainous Tennessee, yeah. And really, it's really worse. Literally 15 minutes away from me in North Carolina was really bad. 10 miles from my house, the road completely collapsed, leading from Mountain City, Tennessee to Trade, Tennessee, which is on the border of North Carolina.
How far away is Boone?
Boone is 40 minutes away. So to go from my house to Boone, you go through Trade. Trade is the halfway point.
Okay.
And so the road between my house and Trade, and then thus to Boone, was completely gone.
Wow.
And
what about that squiggly road we went on over the mountain?
That actually held up.
I mean, it
isn't
a mountain.
And okay, so when this first all happened, I got 10 inches of rain in my house in Tennessee. They said it broke the monthly record in one day by 5 inches in one day.
Wow. Wish I could say that. When you and I were talking the other day, and I was like, fading on you once again because I couldn't make it to one of the things. By the way, another topic. I went to the ER that night. I'm like I'm looking at hurricane videos, and Dave's like, "Yeah, my house got 10 inches," and it just didn't occur to me that you're talking about Tennessee. I thought you were doing a bit. I'm like, "Fuck you, Dave. Your stupid house." He's like, "I can't get in touch with my neighbor." I'm like, "Your neighbor's on crack." And the whole time you're serious.
Yeah,
you're like, "My town is underwater." I'm like, "Wait," because it hadn't rained in Chicago. I'm like, "Don't be a douchebag." And then I was like, "Oh wait, he has another house."
Yeah, there was. I have two neighbors on my side of the mountain. One of which I don't have their number. I think my wife might. But one of which is an elderly guy, a real nice guy, and I have his number, and I started reaching out to him and couldn't get a hold of him. My electricity went down.
How do you know?
Because I couldn't see any of the cameras.
Oh, right.
So my electricity went down 9 o'clock Saturday morning, I think. Saturday morning, it was raining. I was watching it, and the electricity goes down. I had no idea what was happening, and then it's like, first of all, I don't know if this is good or bad. It happened on the weekend, which means it's hard to find things out because apparently the media doesn't work on the weekends anymore, and I mean,
God, you hate the media so much.
It was like Well, because at first, everybody's just trying to stay ahead of it. Nobody's posting videos to YouTube about all the devastation. They're just trying to save their lives.
Trying to get there too.
And nobody was covering it at first. They were all covering the Florida hurricane.
Yeah.
Because that's what you expect. Right. I mean, everybody expects it. Okay, so here's some.
No one expects like Asheville.
Yeah, here's some weird things about these hurricanes. Okay, first of all, the hurricane came up. It hit Tallahassee, which is an unusual place for hurricane. It's like the armpit of Florida.
Nobody wants to. Not even hurricanes want to go to Tallahassee.
Yeah, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean, if you look at the map and you think of Florida as an arm, Tallahassee is in the armpit.
But it also
they call it the Big Bend. I call it the armpit.
It is horrible.
Oh, is it really? I've never been there.
Yeah.
So the hurricane hit there. I don't know if I don't know what the reason behind this is. Hurricanes hit the ground, hit the land, and then they generally break up. They turn into a tropical storm within a few miles, and then you get a lot of rain and a lot of wind, but it dies down. It fades out as it goes forward. They were still having hurricane force winds 100 miles inland.
Yeah.
Which was unbelievable.
And they were 140 miles an hour.
Yeah, all my neighbors, everybody knew that there was a storm coming. Nobody knew it was going to be this bad. Yeah. And to be fair to the media, nobody could have predicted it.
I mean, you never think of, the Weather Service kind of sort of predicted it. But
they didn't predict it was gonna be that strong, right, that far inland. You
don't think of Tennessee. North Carolina, like you think of the coast, you're like, yeah, they could get some rain. But Tennessee?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, we get a lot of rain in the spring. But it's nothing like this. And then we started seeing the videos from Facebook and yesterday I should have sent you. Can we play videos?
What other you can do is go back in and insert it. So what we have to do is stop.
No, I don't want.
Yeah,
I didn't prepare. I should have prepared. You know what? I'll prepare for our next thing. We'll do a whole section on videos because by then it won't be raw.
You can insert the video.
I'd rather talk about it when we can see that. Besides that, it's a little bit too fresh, a wound. Everybody's still digging out and shit. But there was a video I sent to my wife of a raging river, and you see something that looks like a little car or something floating down, and then as it gets closer to the camera, you realize it's a casket.
Yeah, I posted that too, and I of course I joked about it, and I was like rolling, and then somebody's like, dude, that's not cool, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like, it's sitting pretty high in the water. I'm like, I'm sure that was like it was a showroom.
Oh, you know what? It could be.
Casket.
I didn't even think of that. It could be.
There's nobody in there.
That's a good point.
Because caskets are they're in a cement thing. They can't float to the surface.
Because it didn't look old. An old casket, maybe.
Nah, that was a showroom casket.
All right. So now, just so in case anybody's interested, on my property, my electricity was down for 3 days, so everything in the freezer is gone. We got a little bit of mud down the mountain, but it didn't hit the house. And then we had a tree that fell on the other side of the road from me that took out part of my fence and my apple tree. It chopped down half my apple tree.
I wonder how the guy with the gigantic deck from the first house you looked at, I wwonder how he did.
Yeah, well, it'd be actually interesting because Pigeon Forge in Tennessee, Pigeon Forge got it pretty bad. I know Dollywood was closed, but they reopened Monday, so they must not have been too bad.
See, a place like Dollywood, before they opened up, they had the money and the resources to go, where should we put this? Yeah. And so they foresaw stuff like bad floods.
Well, drains, yeah. Well, a lot of stuff drains out.
Regular people can't do that. They just buy a house wherever it is.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. Like I mentioned, the road between Mountain City and Boone collapsed and is gone. The other there's about 5 major roads leading into my county because I live in a rural county. I live in a pretty rural county. One is 421 that leads to Boone. That's gone. 321 is the other road that goes from Mountain City to Boone. That's a little longer. Bridge was out, so that's gone. The road leading to Damascus the road that leads north to Abingdon, Virginia, goes through Damascus, which is halfway between us and Abingdon. The bridge is gone. So 3 out of the 5 roads that lead into my county were just washed out. Now, because my county, for those of you who haven't listened to old shows, is in the extreme northeast corner of Tennessee, in the Smoky Mountains, right against the North Carolina and the Virginia border. So it's a separated from everything. So there's one road coming in from the north, one road coming in, or really 2 roads coming in from the southeast, and one road coming in from the south and one road coming in from the west. And the 421, the one coming in from the west, goes over 3 mountains and has 439 turns.
Is that the one that I would? No, that's not the one that I would come in on.
No,
that's the one that you leave on to go to.
That's the one you go to Bristol.
That was the crazy one. I don't want to go on that road
It's
anymore.
the fun ride.
Hey, you say fun. You say fun the way that people say, is that roller coaster not put together well? That's fun.
I would do it. I wouldn't do it at night. And then
I wouldn't do it in the day.
And then the other road, the one that goes to Johnson City, goes south to Johnson City, was flooded for a few hours Saturday and Sunday, and then now it seems like that one's clear. So there was a time where you had to go over the mountains. That was the only road that was open, and they closed that down to everything but emergency vehicles. There was no way to get into my car.
How are we going to get our Dollywood buttons? How are we going to get our chewing tobacco? How are we going to get our beef jerky?
Yeah. So here's another story. I'm going down there in 2 weeks. We're picking up stakes and moving down there. Here's an interesting thing that I'm really having to force myself to think logically and stay calm. My wife and I are butting up against my everything will be all right. There's a caution level. Everything's going to be all right no matter what over here, and everything's going to be really bad. We can't do this over here. I'm way on this side of the scale. She's closer over to this side of the scale.
You guys are like panic and bliss.
Yeah. So we're planning on packing up a couple of things, piano and stuff, and taking them down there in the trailer, and in 2 weeks, and then moving the stuff we really want. And so she's like, I'm not sure we should take a trailer. We don't know how bad the roads are going to be. And I'm like, well, it's in 2 weeks. I'll be fine. And she goes, yeah, but taking a trailer, the roads are not going to be tested. I'm like, wait a minute. The trailer's not going to be as heavy as my pickup truck that's pulling it.
Yeah.
So pulling a trailer is not going to be any worse than driving a truck. She goes, well, I don't know if we should drive the truck.
A lot of people are going to be pulling trailers anyway.
Yeah. And I said, there's all these electrical trucks. They're fixing all this stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of work trucks.
You should tell her that you've rented a copter. They're going to fly in. They're going to fly in. So.
But yeah, then I told my neighbors, I said, "Wait, listen, we can't get down there for 2 weeks. But if in 2 weeks you're still having trouble getting stuff, the one thing that's good is our electricity's back on. Came back on yesterday, and we have spring-fed water, so we're okay. They were okay with water.
This is how Amazon drone delivery is going to be a lifesaver for people.
Well, in North Carolina, yeah. Because I live in the Smoky Mountains, but I don't live up in the mountains away from all the towns. In North Carolina, over by Blowing Rock, we went to Blowing Rock one time in that area. There's people that live back there who literally it took a couple days to make sure they were still alive, and there's still people they haven't been able to make contact with because cell towers got knocked down.
Those people probably didn't even know anything happened.
Yeah, the electrical got knocked out.
Water sure is high. Anyway,
yeah,
let's go slaughter that pig.
Well, I'm telling you, they might be finding bodies out there for a few days. I don't know, but
this segues into. First of all, I'm glad that all your stuff is good.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to repair a little bit, but hopefully,
super minor.
Hopefully, nothing is.
I'm glad that. How's the rest of the town? There was some flooding over. I don't know if you would remember. Part of the town was flooded. I don't know how bad it is yet because I haven't been down there. Oh shit!
Yeah, part of the town by the high school was flooded. So.
That's close to where our favorite cafe is.
Which cafe?
The one that we ate at.
I don't remember eating at a cafe.
Yeah, you and I had a sandwich at a cafe there.
Oh, the deli. Yeah, it's right down the street from there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where well, I'm sure it all did well.
That was Locals Deli, if you remember.
Now that I'm looking at all the hurricane stuff, of course, somebody needs to be able to look at this objectively and not with the kind of emotion this kind of disaster provides. And so I've decided to be that person. So the last great hurricane like this, the last devastating hurricane, was Andrew. That was 1992. That was a long time ago.
Well, it was Hurricane Sandy.
You know, Hurricane Sandy was pretty bad, but it wasn't this bad. It wasn't. It didn't devastate the way
Okay,
this
let me
did.
ask you a question about that. All right. Do you think that this is worse than other hurricanes, or that it's hitting in a weird area than other hurricanes? You know, places that aren't prepared for it. Because my first thought was Sandy, because New Jersey.
I could take Sandy.
New
for this
Jersey
argument.
is not prepared for hurricanes.
Yeah, you don't think of Jersey as a
I
hurricane.
mean, a
place.
hurricane hits Florida. Okay, well, what's next?
Yeah, we all know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a hurricane hits North Carolina.
Okay, so let's go with Hurricane Sandy then.
Uh,
All right, Hurricane Sandy, it was huge. It hit in unexpected places. Its devastation was outrageous, and that was 2012.
Yeah.
All right, that was how many years from 1992? I can't do math, but it was a lot.
20.
20, thank you. And so right now, so it's 2024. So 20 years from now, you know, is 2044. I mean,
Phoenix could get hit by a.
what I'm saying is, in about 6 or 7 months, beachfront property in Orlando or in Florida and Alabama and the east side of the country is going to be affordable, and you probably won't have to worry about a devastating hurricane for another 20 years. So I'm like, I can do that. I could pick up a place in Savannah or something like that because they're probably going to be fun.
Hilton Head.
Yeah, the next hurricane's probably going to go up through Texas. All right,
Wow.
You know, it's probably not going to be us at all, not for another 20 years.
Well, that's the other thing. My wife starts worrying about. Oh wow, what do we do if this situation happens again? I'm like, what are the odds? What are the odds that Tennessee is going to get hit by a hurricane in the next 20 years? The last time we got hit by a tornado was 25 years ago.
I mean, watch now it's just part of the hurricane corridor.
Yeah.
You know.
Why can't we figure out a way to send these hurricanes up to Canada? I think that would.
They just blow out by the time they get.
It would put out the fires that those idiots start every year.
I mean, what we should do is reroute them into the Pacific to go up to California and put out all the wildfires. You know, that would help a lot. Plus, to rebuild their lakes. That's just us. We're hurricane corridor. You know, when I lived in Florida, I mean, I grew up there, and you just kind of take it for granted. You know, you're just like, oh, is there a hurricane? Cool. You want to go to a movie? I mean, just no one gives a crap. Even when they're really, really bad. You know, and you're seeing news from the coast, like during Andrew, when I saw news from the coast and it was just terrifying. We were like, we'll be fine. And we were.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I was in a hurricane once, and so in Bermuda, which was wild. And it's an amazing
It doesn't
experience.
even slow down when it goes through Bermuda.
Yeah. It was an amazing experience, but, now that was 30 years ago, 35 years ago.
And the wind is bad, but really it's the storm surges that do the worst damage.
It's kind of
The
like
flooding
childbirth.
I'm sorry, what?
It's kind of like childbirth, you know?
The way that flooding does the most
I mean,
damage?
if you think about it, if women really remembered how bad childbirth
I just
was,
want to point out at this moment that Dave is comparing hurricanes to childbirth. Please mark your calendars for this day. Go ahead, Dave.
this goes why your analogy, your thinking about low cost beachfront housing is not true, because if you think about it, if women really remembered with clarity what childbirth was like, they'd never have more than one kid.
Oh, well, that's true. I mean,
You forget it.
yeah, I'm sure that they're designed that way.
It softens with the time.
There's
the
probably
memory softens.
there's probably a hormone that wipes that memory out for them so they'll keep breeding, because you're goddamn right. If I was a woman, I'd be halfway through childbirth and I'm like, nope,
They'll forget it.
get rid of it.
Done. We're
I'm
done.
not doing it anymore. And don't you come near me, you son of a bitch.
And that same whatever it is why people will still pay a lot of money for oceanfront property in Florida.
I'm just saying it's going to be affordable for a little while. All right. I'm just telling you right now that if you wanted to go down to Destin, Florida, and like buy an oyster bar, now's the time to do it. I mean, it's demolished. You're going to need to rebuild that fucker. But now is the time. You know, you pick up a bar, you get a nice couple of, double wide trailers nearby to live, and you pick up one of those busted boats and you patch it with duct tape. You're good, man. You're living the dream.
Yeah, for a little while.
I also thought, while I was watching this, because I have no soul, while I was watching those hurricane videos, I'm not thinking about those poor people. I'm thinking now's the best time to steal a boat. Right? Now is the best time to steal a boat.
They were showing pictures of people with 10, 20 boats in their front yard. And the first thing I thought when I saw that picture is like, hey, if it's on my property,
it's mine. I'm just like, if I had just a smidge fewer morals than I do at the moment, and I mean a smidge, the moment I saw that a bad hurricane was coming, I just go down and hotwire a boat and drive it to like Texas, and like wait it out. And then whoever's boat that was, they're like, shit, it got lost in the hurricane, and I just changed the name and drive it around for the rest of my days.
That's got to happen.
You know what? I'm going to write my own Carl Hyacin book, and that's what it's going to be based on, is right there.
All right, so speaking of childbirth.
Fucking hell.
Because I want to switch to talk about safes, but first, since you brought up childbirth, I just want to mention this. There is a picture going viral, and I saw a video of explaining it, of some woman who did a pumpkin display for Halloween of a pumpkin giving birth to a smaller pumpkin.
Oh, come on.
And it was hilarious. My wife sent it to me, and I'm like, oh, it is. I just can imagine my neighbors flipping out over that.
Is it a? Oh, you're not there yet?
Yeah, now we are. And I actually created 2 files instead of hitting the right button.
So
we're back.
I came up here today to Dave's safe place because no one's ever here.
Well, but yeah, I know, but I'm here. So
I mean, all their sales are online. All their sales are online. Right?
So we're at Windy City Safes. So yeah, we just had to pause while 2 customers came in, and we're at Windy City Safes. 7310 on Milwaukee Avenue in Niles.
I was wondering what you wanted from me. Across from the bowling alley.
My buddy Lucky, George Dunn, is it's his safe store. And yeah, so what happened was he sells Liberty safes. And you can see them behind me. They're
pretty
beautiful. Awesome. And
my stepfather has a Liberty safe.
Really?
Yeah, it keeps all his guns in it.
Your stepfather has guns, huh?
Are you kidding me?
That's
my stepfather lives in Alabama.
Conservative side of the family.
He has all the guns.
And yeah, I'll take one of each.
Yeah, pretty much.
But he so he has a safe store, and Liberty, because he has a Liberty, he does 90% of his business online. People either go online to look at safes or call or whatever. Yeah. But he has to have a store, and he has to have somebody live in the store, work in the store. And so he had like college kids. He usually hires children and police officers to do it. And they went back to college, and I was like, I'm driving around for Enterprise, just doing a side job, waiting to move down to Tennessee. And he's like, well, I'll pay you more than that if you want to come sit in the store. I'm like, all right, but I'm leaving in a couple months. They're like, that's fine. So for the last couple of months, I've been sitting there. But it is kind of cool. Once I got my feet in the ground, I have fun talking to people and trying to get them to buy stuff.
No, you're a natural salesman.
Yeah.
And these are, the safes are cool. When I first came here, you had a customer, and I was like looking at the safes, and I realized I could get inside this one. And then I wondered, if I did get it, is there like a kill switch inside of it? Like if you get locked inside, is there any way to get out?
I don't think so. I'm not from the inside.
I mean, what idiot would do that?
Yeah.
So they are cool looking safes, though, no doubt
about it. It's much easier for somebody to get in if they're unconscious. Just as a not that I'm making any suggestions.
Just as an FYI.
But if you want Liberty safes, and I mean these things are really cool. Come down.
But it is true. I mean, most of the sales are online. Your job is really to mind the store. And like you don't usually have a lot of customers walk in, and I have very little time today. And I'm doing this. You've had 2 customers since I've been here. It's like the world is like, watch this. This will be hilarious.
Yeah, I've been doing. I mean, I don't know how many he normally sells out of the store, but lately I've sold 3 or 4, including one really expensive one. I had one guy come in. And and I told George later, I'm like, guys, like he came in like he was an alcoholic at a liquor store. He's like, I need a safe. Why anybody would need a safe, right now, I don't know. And I'm like, well,
let's go back to that unconscious body thing. And
he goes, well, I have a well, the camera's not pointing at it, but the premium home safes are here we are. Turn the
it's a
camera.
nice looking safe, too.
Yeah. So the premium home, the little safes there, those 2 little safes are like the best sellers, And he's like, I got one of these, and I need a bigger one. I'm like, all right, those 2 of these, the little safes. Somebody came in like the first day I came in. A couple came in, bought 2 of those, and they use them as nightstands. They each have their guns on each side of the bed.
Wow.
I don't think it's to use on each other. But anyway,
wow.
What else?
Wow.
What else do you really need right next to your bed? I guess.
That
you don't want the kids to find out. I don't know.
Oh well, there you go.
But anyway, so he comes in. He goes, I have one of these safes, and I need a bigger one. And I'm like, all right, well, do you want it delivered? He goes, no, I'll take it right now. And then like 4 of his buddies come walking in. All right.
Wow. Okay.
I'm like, whoa.
That's a Ryan Reynolds movie in the making right there.
There's no cash around here, so I'm not really worried about robbery. I mean, everything's done by nobody comes walking in with enough money to pay.
And
cash
did they
for
look like they were capable of carrying a safe?
No, they looked okay. I mean, they were well dressed, driving a Cadillac, truck.
Okay, yeah, we know what's going on there.
Yeah,
I mean, we are in the Ukrainian / Polish / Russian side of this.
All of his friends were fine. They were just quiet. They were just interested. They were just looking around. He was the one. I don't know if maybe this is his personality. He was like, I need a safe.
Czechoslovakia.
And he goes looking over. He goes looking at one of these safes.
Do you have one of these?
Yeah, this is no, it wasn't like that. But the Centurion safe.
How you say bodies? Can you fit in a safe?
But here's the weird thing. So the Centurion safe is about half the price of the premium home. It's not as strong. It's a
premium home safe,
right? And which is what he said he had a small version of. So he goes, I'll take one. This is the right size. I'll take one of these. And I said, well, if you like the premium home that you got, maybe you want one of this. This is the same model. It's just bigger. He's like, all right, I'll take that. I mean, literally, that was the extent of that conversation. And I'm like, really? I didn't have to. It's twice the price. No, I don't care. I like the one I have.
Because of all the cash he was going to put in the safe, he could just take a little out of that.
Yeah. So
I put it up to expenses,
and everything went cool. And they loaded it in their truck and they took it. And I told George later, I'm like, that was the weirdest friggin' thing. And he goes, well, I mean, did you make sure that the credit card was? I go, yeah, the credit card matches name, the license matches face. We got his license plate. We got everything, and it went through fine. There was nothing wrong.
That's some John Wick shit right there.
It was just weird. Yeah,
telling you.
It was weird. So I've had some interesting. Most of the people I talk to are retired police officers.
So because you've had and that guy, what's his name?
Orlando.
Lucky? The guy that was just in here.
No, Orlando.
He wasn't here to buy a safe. He was here to renew his carry.
Well, yeah, but he's one of the last people that does that. George doesn't do that anymore.
Oh.
He gave up his license and stuff.
Oh, okay. Strike that from the record.
Just selling safes.
So I came in today because I wanted to do the podcast with you, but because you had 2 customers, we're going to have to cut it short a little bit.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we have other topics, but, we could try to do it again this week a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then,
what other topics do you have? I have my ongoing relationship with the ER that I could talk about. I thought you might talk about sexy barbers. I don't know.
I got my beard trimmed, isn't it?
Yeah.
That wasn't really a topic I was going to talk about. I have to look up the other. But I mean, are we giving like an update? Or we want to talk about one more topic, or are we giving?
Yeah, I got just enough time to fit in one, I suppose. And I mean, if you want me to talk about the ER thing, I think I'm done with it. But the other day when I faded on our podcast, or was that Sunday?
Yeah.
I was not feeling great, and a few hours after I talked to you, right in the ER.
For what?
It turns out for the same thing as pain across here, it was really bad. Turns out I've got ulcers. So
really,
that's what it is. It's ulcers.
I don't understand. Don't people get ulcers from stress?
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
Well, it doesn't make
talk
any
about a
sense at all.
stress-free life. I don't know
Imagine
anybody.
what I would be like if I had it.
No
Like,
kidding, right?
I mean, I would just be nothing but sores all up and down me, no hair. But yeah, no, I lived the life of Riley, and yet I have these ulcers. It's probably because for the longest time I was taking like 6 Advil a day, and apparently that's way too many.
Yeah.
So, but this time I went in the ER, and here's the thing: I realized at the time you should not recognize people in the ER. You shouldn't go, "Hey, good to see you again" in the ER. You should not know anybody there. And I said that to 3 different people while I was there because I've been in the ER so much since July. And I was like, "Hey, how you doing? It's good to see you again, Garcia." It was so weird, man.
I'll tell you, I have an interesting recognizing somebody in the ER story.
As a cop, this could get weird.
No, yeah, it's going back, God, how many years? 15 years ago, I used to work with a guy, and I'm not going to say his name in case his wife still works there. And he retired, and we were doing a detail at a street fair, and it was a concert, and there was a band. I do remember the name of the band, Headbangers Ball.
Yeah, okay.
All right, they played 80s glam heavy metal music, and he started telling me this story about how I was like, "Oh, I love going to see this band. Me and my wife go see them whenever they're in the area." He goes, "Oh yeah, mine too. My wife, she loves this band." And it brings her right back to when she was a teenager. And I'll tell you, on the way home, she made me pull over. And then he started telling stories. And I, at that time, did not know his wife.
And now you do.
And then I had a accident or something. I ended up in the emergency room. Yeah, I know. I ended up in the emergency room, and his wife was my nurse. And she was very beautiful. All I could think about was the story, and I'm like, "Oh, I know your husband."
Not biblically, like you. All right. Well, sorry, man. I gotta bolt.
All right, so I'll put this together.
Buy a safe.
Come to Windy City Safe, buy a safe, and we'll do another show maybe later
Let's
this week.
close this out and do a commercial that you can turn into a YouTube short.
Okay. Well, I have some.
Oh, okay.
All right. So join us, Jeremiah.